Good afternoon. It's my pleasure and privilege to have Ari Kagan here today. Ari, how are you?
Hi, doctor. How are you doing?
Good. So, you are a journalist, you're a professional journalist, so you are very good at picking up something very interesting to talk about. Do you have something in mind today?
Yes, I do. Every time you go to any restaurant, cafe, any place to eat out, you're going out to eat every time you go anywhere. And it's like tradition, not just in America, probably all over the world. It should be a table. Definitely should be salt, should be black pepper, usually ketchup, and sometimes glass of water with ice. I'm not going to talk about glass of water with ice today, but I think it makes sense to talk about like a mandatory salt and black pepper on a table every single time.
No, I think we should talk about water too.
Yeah.
And let me explain you why.
With ice.
Because sometimes what they do, they give mineralized water.
Okay.
Yeah. But according to US regulations, you can't have the label of mineralized water if the sodium content is too low.
Okay.
So basically, as soon as somebody gets mineralized water, sodium content is kind of on the high side.
Yes, of course.
So I think that it's always a good idea to talk about water too.
Okay.
It could be salt loaded all the way up, So
First of all, how do you explain this, as I understand, not very healthy tradition? Number two, people can say it's up to us to decide whether to use it or not, so no problem is it. But of course, it is a temptation to use all of this.
Because salt is the taste enhancer. It enhances the...
Sometimes also, especially in diners in America, I see also huge glass with sugar, also sugar, especially in diners. Sugar too, by the way.
Yeah, because first of all, it's cheap. Salt is the taste enhancer, so as soon as flavor enhancer, that's why they use salt, and it's the cheapest way to make something quite tasty. All right?
But still, if it's against health, if it's according to you, I see already you're like definitely against it. So why it's all over the places, and practically in every single restaurant, cafe, or diner, etc., any food establishment, any kind of establishment like that, it's always, everybody knows about it. It's not a secret just between us, it's all over the places.
Look, you know what, I cannot blame them too much, because it's not their obligation, it's not their intention to watch salt content or salt intake of this person. However, that's an obligation of the person himself to do that. That's one thing, but I think the main danger is not the salt which is on the table, because not everybody puts extra salt. The main thing is the hidden salt.
You mean that is already in the food?
It's already in food. Okay, and let me give you a perfect example. The water on the table. If it's mineralized water, it's almost for sure
guaranteed
you're getting a lot of salt. Ketchup, the same thing.
Ketchup is always, always.
I had a patient of mine, she went to some resort.
Ketchup has a lot of salt?
Of course.
Okay.
And she went to some resort, and they were giving a lot of mineralized water to her, and she thought that she is going to improve her heart condition and health, and turned out to be she ended up in the emergency room because she had a lot of salt. She drank water with a lot of salt, her blood pressure went up, and she developed heart problems.
Was she young or old or middle-aged?
50-something. 50-something. Okay, and that's very impressive to me, because people think that they go to a resort, should be healthy. In fact, it's turned out to be something else. So my intention actually to point your attention towards not the salt that's on the table, because it's obvious. Not everybody is going to put extra salt.
Black pepper, sugar, and ketchup. That's almost
I don't have any problems with pepper, but I do have problems with salt and sugar. And
ketchup.
Ketchup as well. By the way, you can get salt-free ketchup, no added salt.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that's what I use at home. No added
salt-free ketchup?
Yeah, no, not salt-free, no added salt.
Okay.
No salt added, so that's a good thing, I think.
Already good advice today.
Of course. Barbecue sauce, ketchup, no salt added. Tomato juice, no salt added. That's what I think they should drink.
Usually tomato juice is very, very salty.
Very salty.
Very, very
salty. Very salty. You drink a cup of.
The more you drink, the more you want to drink.
Of course.
All the
That's
time.
because of the salt. So the hidden salt.
Yes.
Hidden salt, where could it be? First of all, pickles. Not exactly pickles, but you know, whatever has salt in it, especially Russian style pickles, you know, they have a lot of salt in it. Like herring. Herring.
And it's very tasty.
Herring, yeah, it is very tasty, but it's salt, it's a lot. So how many, you can't even imagine how many times people come to me with high blood pressure and I said, what did you eat yesterday? Herring. Of course. You ate a lot of salt and you expect blood pressure to stay up. Of course it goes up. But in my understanding, the main thing is not that, because you can control, like herring, like sauces, like added salt. What you cannot control is if the product was brined.
What does it mean?
Brined means that it was put in a salty solution.
Okay.
Okay, and that's what happens is that because they want it to be juicy, so they put it in the brine position with a lot of salt, which attracts water, and that's what makes it very, very, very unhealthy. Okay, and they do it practically every time. The perfect example is the rotisserie chicken. Rotisserie chicken is very well known. It's not only salt, it's MSG in it, etc., etc. So it's very, in my understanding, I don't eat it because that's just not you can use. And so that's pretty much it. So basically, what I think is that the main thing is not that salt on the table, but the hidden salt.
What about sugar? It's also like, especially in diners, I see.
Sugar is the same thing. So basically, people tend to put a lot of sugar, and that's what makes food tasty, and that makes it actually more harmful, because nobody can deny that salt or sugar are healthy.
Nobody denies, but people say, no, don't be crazy. Put a little bit there, put a little bit here. You know.
Well, a little bit here, a little bit there. You know, it's like spending money. You buy a cup of coffee there, a cup of coffee here, the cake over there, and see your daily budget is spent.
That's true.
You know, that people think that if they go to work, what is the problem? To take a cup of coffee in what's it called, in Starbucks,
Dunkin' Donuts.
in a Dunkin' Donuts. How many calories, how many salt, and how many sugar in that cup of coffee?
Salt in the coffee?
Of course, they put salt over there, and also, how much does it cost? About $5-7.
At this point, it's expensive.
You know, and one cup of coffee, they think, what's the problem? One cup of coffee, I can afford that. Yes, sure, once. What about every day and several times a day, every day? You know? That becomes a problem financially. So sugar in coffee, in sweets, you know, nobody can imagine.
Now you reminded me when you mentioned sweets. Also, besides regular sugar, they always have sweeteners, sweet and low, etc., etc. Also, on diners, very often you can see already on the table, you know, all of the sweeteners.
Yes, it does. But many of the sweeteners, they have a lot of side effects. Okay, and equal, for example, if you talk about equal, you know that as far as I remember, they are prohibited in use for the U.S. military pilots because it causes dizziness.
Oh.
You know, so a lot of stuff, you know, that's very well known to have side effects. It's not that benign as you might think.
1 second. Do you drink coffee or tea? You?
I try not to drink anything. Okay, however, I do drink coffee.
Oh.
What I do is.
But do you put any? You cannot drink it without sugar.
No, I don't drink. I don't put any sugar.
It's gonna be very
rare, like once or twice a week, no more than that.
It'll be very bitter if you don't put any sugar there.
Well, it's cold brewed coffee. It's very easy to make. It's very tasty, and believe me, it tastes so good that as soon as you try it once, you won't drink anything else.
Okay.
Cold brewed.
Coffee without sugar.
Cold brewed, no sugar, just a little bit of what's it called? A little bit of cream, and that's it. That's it. No more than that, and it's very tasty. Sometimes I drink tea, but what I do. There is a problem with tea. I think we talked about that.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, because it prevents.
Cleaning up inside the
Yeah, it
stomach.
prevents from absorption of heavy metals like iron, etc., etc. So I put usually some milk powder in it. So yeah, so to do it like English style tea. So
Correct.
that's what try not to drink.
I
it
remember
sometimes,
after I talked to you, I started to do it too.
yeah, because that's a very simple way. It's English style. Why Englishmen put that? That's because of that.
So now I understand why so many people are coming to you or coming to doctor, any other doctors. Usually the day before they were like in a restaurant or in a cafe or in a diner and ate all of the stuff we're talking about. Like they definitely overplay their hand eating too much salt, too much sugar, too much of everything, mineral water, you know. That's why like you ask him what did you eat yesterday and this is the end result, correct?
Yeah, that's the result because people don't realize it as soon as they eat some herring, salty herring, their blood pressure goes up, and what's the point to take medication or whatever it is? This doesn't make any sense.
Also, like talking about sugar, I know that sugar is not just in regular sugar, but also could be some stuff like fruits that have sugar. So if you have sugar on top of this on the table,
Fruits is a different story.
yeah,
Fruit is a different story, and the reason for that is because fruits do have sugar, but they have a lot of the other stuff in it, fibers, and fibers prevent sugar from being absorbed too fast. So as soon as you eat it naturally, there is no problem.
okay.
Problem arises if you modify. Suppose you eat an orange, right? No problem. But as soon as you make an orange juice from it, there is a problem. Why? Because there is no fiber in it. So sugar is absorbed too quickly. It creates insulin overshoot and creates problems again and again and again.
Did you hear it? Orange is okay, orange juice is not so okay.
No, because as soon as you meddle with Mother Nature, that's where the problem comes.
Or if you eat orange and cake at the same time for dessert, that's too much.
Orange and cake, that's too much, I think.
No, but usually, especially in Russian restaurants, you know, when it's time for a dessert, they bring like plate of fruits and a lot of sweets, you know.
Well, because that's the cheapest way. If you do something at home, it's not necessarily to put that much sugar. Because I do have sweets at home, which I make myself, but I don't put that much sugar in it, that's all. What's the problem?
So you're saying it's because the sweets and everything made somewhere else, that's why it's so much sugar?
Yeah, because they do it, deliberately put too much sugar. If you do it at home...
Why deliberately?
Because that's the cheapest way. What's the point? If they don't put sugar, they have to put something else, right? Sugar is very cheap.
And it creates wrong impressions that you're full and everything.
Yeah, for full and everything. Not full, it's tasty. That's what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
They want to achieve, because if you don't put that much sugar, you want to make sure that it's really tasty, so you have to put something else, more expensive, stuff, and think how to do it.
But many times I was coming to places where, for example, in the beginning, nothing on the table, just table itself. But then people saying, where is my ketchup, where is my salt, where is my sugar? And then, oh, okay, and then the waiter is bringing everything. You know,
well, because what I learned quite recently that food can be as addictive as street drugs. And there was actually a study that some sweets that are commercially, you can buy it in
addictive?
As addictive as cocaine. And the most important thing is to make sure that you know it. There is a combination of 3 products that make us addictive: fat, salt, and sugar. Example, ice cream. Fat, milk, sweet, sugar, and a little bit of salt. They
What,
usually put
salt?
some salt. Yes, sugar, of course.
Ice cream is universally popular.
That's why it's so addictive.
It's universally popular.
That's why it's that's why they put a little bit of salt in it. Not every brand, but most of the brands, they put a little bit of salt in it as a taste enhancer. Sugar is definitely there, fat
Sugar,
is there,
yes.
yeah.
Sugar,
And
yes.
this combination of sugar, salt and fat makes it as addictive as cocaine.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
But children love it, for example. Forget about adults. Children love it. Like, they know, like, have you ever seen a child who didn't like ice cream?
Well, they might like it, but it's up to the parents to buy the ice cream for their kids.
That's true.
Basically, it's responsibility because not every parent realizes how much he's responsible for food that there is.
So you strongly recommend against it, or you're saying just be cautious in terms of like portions? Like if it's once in a blue moon, no problem, but if it's like twice a day, it's not.
You can't. Nobody's perfect, unless you have a limb around your head, and wings behind your back.
Yes.
So if you don't have it, so you're not perfect. So everybody has his own drawbacks. Everybody can do something wrong. Nobody's perfect. I did the wrong thing so many times.
This is first time in my adult life I hear anybody saying that something is wrong with ice cream. Like.
Oh, come on.
Besides getting sick because it's too cold, nothing else. That's the first time, honestly, first time.
Really?
Nobody ever complained about ice cream.
Why don't you come here every week? You'll hear a lot.
Have you ever heard anybody saying, "Oh, ice cream is not healthy"? I do not.
No, come on. So much sugar, and once again, this combination. Whenever you see this combination, fat, salt, and sugar, let me give you another example. Ukrainian borscht, you should know that.
Yeah.
Sweets, salt,
That's true.
and fat.
That's true.
Why is it so good? Because it's addictive. Because of that.
Yeah, I love ice cream. I love borscht, Ukrainian borscht.
Yeah, that's because of that. That's because of that combination. All right.
Oh, now you're trying to take away from me good stuff, huh?
Listen, nobody tells you not to eat it. What I'm saying is that be very cautious.
Be
very cautious. Once in a while, a little bit, you can do it, but make sure that's not your habit. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying not to eat ice cream at all in your life. No, that's not my intention.
Okay,
I want to stay alive because if I start saying something like that, they're going to shoot me,
Yeah, because if this video is watched by some owners of restaurants, they'll say, what he's talking about?
That once in a while if you go with a nice company and I just have a small portion of ice cream, why not? We are humans, we are not gods, we can afford that, so why don't we do it?
So you're saying that the biggest problem is not even salt, sugar, and ketchup or anything like this on a table in a restaurant. The problem is even bigger. What is already in the food we are eating outside of it.
Yeah, because as soon as it's brined, you can't control it. You can't control MSG. You can't control salt. You can't control other stuff. And that's the problem. As soon as out of your control, that's where the problem starts.
Out of all patients that you are seeing, besides, I understand that food is very, very, very important. I already learned, and because of my family situation, and health issues everywhere, I see already that food sometimes could be I would say more than 50% of your health condition.
Yeah,
that's how important.
Whatever you are what you eat. You are what you eat. It's not what I said. That's what they say. You are what you eat. So let's make it simple and straightforward. Get rid of that and make sure that when you eat, you want to make sure that it was not brined before. Okay? When you eat a steak, especially steak or rotisserie chicken. Rotisserie chicken notoriously known for being brined and MSG added. Why do you think it's so tasty and juicy?
Maybe that's why right now in America it's very popular. Before it was popular fat-free, but now it's a different story. Everybody's looking science gluten-free, right?
Yeah, gluten-free.
Gluten-free, and even eggs they put not in cages and organic and blah blah blah.
I'm not impressed with organic, but that's very important thing to make sure there is gluten-free. You need to be kind of cautious. But once again, whenever you are getting it, it's not going to be advertised.
It's also
they're not going to advertise that. They're not going to let you know. Where is the label on rotisserie chicken saying how much salt and MSG in it? There is no label.
But there is a law today in books. It was passed when Bloomberg was the mayor of New York City, about salt, specifically about salt, especially when you go Applebee restaurant, Applebee's, etc. They have even amount of salt. Like you see menu, you see like this food, and it's a salt, and you can see like how many milligrams of salt. And for the first time I saw this, I was shocked. First of all, in Applebee's, when you open the menu, you cannot find anything without so much, not just salt, but so much salt. Maybe that's why the industry was totally against this proposal, like you're saying. They did not want it to be advertised.
I don't think that changed a lot because who is reading it?
Yeah, but when you see salt, yeah. And also now they put on the menu, even in all of this fast food stuff, etc. You can see how many calories, you know, and it never, like, in the last few years you started to see it in Dunkin' Donuts and like anywhere you see how many calories. Before you never seen it.
I know.
Never.
I don't think it
Did it
makes
change
any
number
difference.
of people who are having all
I
kinds of
don't
problems?
think it does. And the reason for that is because as soon as you see the amount of calories, you are not able to calculate how many calories you consume during the day.
That's also true.
You know.
You do not have calculator with them.
What
Hey,
they
this
think
plus
is,
this plus
what's
this.
the problem? 600 calories. This is once.
Yeah, I
And
will not in the evening.
How many times a day? It's once.
Got it.
You know, that's the problem. It turned out to be 2,000 to 2,500, you know, 3,000 calories. How many calories is in a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, you know, that stuff? Come on, it's a lot.
I don't know, probably a lot. So, to summarize, the problem is not salt or sugar or ketchup on a table
Because
in
it's
a
too
restaurant.
obvious. It is too
In a
obvious.
restaurant. The problem is, first of all, what do you actually eat in the actual food?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that you have to add it. Even sometimes you don't need to add anything. It's already
Yeah,
there.
because see, no, it doesn't make any sense to caution people what they already know. If they already know added salt, yes, they're not going to put it. But the problem is that what is already there, they don't know about. They don't know that. That's the key. That's the problem.
So, but even if person is healthy, I'm not talking about people with some health issues. Person is healthy, still preferably to be very cautious with all of this stuff.
Yeah, because what do you mean healthy? Today you're healthy, tomorrow who knows, you know? Nobody can guarantee you, so it's kind of dangerous play to start, because you need to, if you want to live long, if you want to live 1 year or two, you know, that's no problem with that. But
Last question, I started with water and ice. You know, it's fashionable, especially in America, to put ice into everything. But some people saying even that is not very healthy because you never know what is this ice, how it made.
that's exactly true, yeah, I
Yeah?
agree with that. Sure, how would you know where this ice was made from?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
So how can you put
Put ice
something...
into water, into alcohol, into juice, into almost into everything.
Yeah.
Ice.
So how can you put in your mouth something you don't know about? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So it could be problem with ice.
Well, it depends on where it is coming from. It's made from distilled water, you know, and there is no problem. It is made from some...
Regular tap water.
Who knows what it was made from, you know.
Okay.
You never know. You never know.
Officially, New York City is saying that tap water in New York City is relatively safe comparing with like other states, etc. Sometimes they even offer on a street New York City tap water, you know, just they're very proud that it's clean and everything is okay.
Well, I prefer to to drink distilled water, you know, we talked about that.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty much it.
Yes. Thank you so much. You gave so much advice. Oh my God. Now I will be very careful at every restaurant.
And see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.